What's up, everybody? Really appreciate you all for tuning in. Of course, it's late for me because normally I would have did what 2 or 3 videos today. But it's one of those things. Whereas it's just a crazy day, busy day. Got a lot of things planned for this weekend, and when I find some free time, I try to spit my mind a little bit about what's going on, the climate of the Cowboys and things like that. Nevertheless, Jimmy Johnson, he was on the show with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman and Molly, and he was giving his thoughts on the team from last year, the Dallas Cowboys, right? And, of course, they try to ask him some hard questions. They try to go down the laneway of saying, well, this team is cursed because, the curse of Jerry Jones, of not keeping you on the team and these sorts of things, so not inserting you into the Ring of Honor. Now, we do know that football is political at times, especially with the Dallas Cowboys. One can argue that there's been a lot of crazy things, a lot of stories going back and forth. Some people would say, no, Jimmy Johnson was not fired by Jerry, Wayne, Jones. They had mutual disagreements or mutual whatever partners, whatever they say. They had mutual agreements to leave one another, basically. But we know by Jerry, and Jerry refused to put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor. Regardless of how we look at it, you got players that Jimmy Johnson drafted and coached in the Ring of Honor, but you don't have Jimmy Johnson in there. One can flat out argue and say, well, the Cowboys would not have the 3 Super Bowl rings and the 90 if it was not for Jimmy Johnson. Let that sink in. Now, Jimmy was going back and forth with Stephen A. Smith and, of course, Max Kellerman about the defensive side of the team. Yeah, last year he was just basically saying, well, the reason why the Cowboys pretty much was horrible because of the fact that they tried to install a brand new defense, a brand new philosophy during this pandemic. Now, of course, they didn't know the pandemic will hit the way it hit, but when it hit, baby, I'm telling you, when you're trying to insert something new, it's hard. It's hard. It's flat out hard when you try to insert something new as it relates to everybody buying in, and not everybody wanted to buy in. That's just the reality of it. Now we got Dan Quinn. Hopefully he can go back, walk into the locker room, tell those who are staying, hey, this is my defense. This is what we're going to do. And, hey, if you don't like it, you can hit the door. That's just the way it goes. Now, granted, the Dallas Cowboys, we do have the draft coming around, and we have the Senior Bowl going, and Will McClay talking about it's great that there's not a lot of media here, not a lot of people here going over things, watching everything. Yes, so that's cool. Hopefully, I'm going back to Jimmy Johnson, that this team can find a way like Jimmy Johnson did. He always figured things out. Now, of course, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it took him a minute. It took him a minute before he started to win or what have you. But you can see the growth. You can see the process. You can see everything that was working in his favor. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that was because he made that crazy run on the trade. And he went into details as well as talking about Dak Prescott. He said, yeah, the Cowboys need to go ahead and pay him. Basically, paraphrasing, need to go ahead and pay Dak Prescott. My thing is, you got to have some type of staple piece or some type of groove action with your team. Everybody got to be on the same page. Everybody got to be on the same page. That's just the reality of it. We got to figure this thing out, especially as it relates to the Cowboys. On that aspect of it, somebody got to know that you got to have your leader for one, and then for two, you got to have a well-known system, established system, and number three, your coaches got to be able to exemplify that, to set that out, basically. Now, ending off with Jimmy Johnson conversation, he said, jokingly, that eventually he will get into the Ring of Honor. I believe he's 1,000,000% right. But let's not be when it happened, when Jerry Jones is gone or when Jimmy Johnson is gone. Why these two guys have the ability to see, hear, and talk, they need to go ahead and make this happen. Jerry Jones, stop waiting for it, because he did say he got plenty of phone calls saying, okay, it'll be this year. Now let's wait on it. It'll be this year. Now let's wait on it. So let's go ahead and put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor. Something might happen. Something might. I'm not trying to say, hey, I believe in curses or anything. But move those egos to the side, and then maybe we can see some semblance of what we used to do in the 90s. Maybe all of that other ill will stuff can go away, right? Now, back to the Dallas Cowboys heading into 2021. I'm still with the philosophy of BPA. I'm still with the philosophy with the mindset of grabbing the best player available, trying to elevate, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and you got to shake something in this free agency. You do. You can't go out here looking at the free agency saying, all right, cool. Let me go back to Kmart. Let me go back to Walmart. Those are too expensive. Let me go to Dollar Tree, Dollar General. We can't do that. We got to go out there and spend the necessary money. Now, back in the days, I was listening to some of the old videos. I was listening to what Stephen Jones said, and they used to pump out their chest and say, we signed some people. We signed our own guys, right? And that was their way of saying that they signed somebody in the free agency. Well, my thing is, when I look back at everything, I'm starting to think, well, if you said you signed some people and you signed your own guys, this is back in the days, of course. Well, wasn't that the reason why your record was the record? So my thing is, go out there and sign some new guys. But at first, you got to sign your quarterback. Now, for those, I always like to bring some objectivity out there. If the Cowboys do decide, because that's on everybody's topic this offseason, Dak Prescott, will they pay him or will they trade him, and these sorts. And, of course, you got to sign him and then trade him because he don't have a contract right about now. So if they do decide to roll in a different quarterback, wouldn't it be wise to have that person already en route opposed to having that person en route too late? Think about that. Everybody talked about look, I tell you this. Last night I was doing a video and everybody was talking about how Dak Prescott really didn't elevate anybody, right? And Deshaun Watson, the weapons in the cast of crews that he had out there, he didn't have anybody. Like Brandon Cooks was a bust or something, like a slouch. And Randall Cobb and Will Fuller and all of those boys, right? Right? And Kiki QT, shout out to him and his father and his uncle. Man, they follow the channel. I really appreciate them. Shout out to the Texas natives over here. But here's the situation. Let's think about this because everybody, mama, uncle, cousin was talking about Amari Cooper. He wasn't nobody to really brag about. He dropped balls. He give up on plays. He this and he's that. He's a bust. Everybody was saying that in our inbox. And the thing is, I can go back to some of those older videos and put it out there. I'm going to keep y'all names secret, right? Keep it safe. Don't want to sully or denigrate you guys. So all of a sudden he get with Dak Prescott, he get those good gaudy numbers again. Oh, the same story with Randall Cobb. He come over here to Dallas Cowboys land and he's resurrected. Is that not Dak Prescott? Let me know if I'm lying, Cowboy Nation. Let me know. Because one can argue the contract that Amari Cooper got was predicated upon how Dak Prescott played with him. He wouldn't have got that contract over there in Raiders land. Let me know if I'm lying. So we got to look at all of those things. Let's not be foolish and bring in a quarterback who's not on the same page with Amari Cooper, not on the same page with CeeDee Lamb, or not on the same page with Michael Gallup. That takes chemistry. It do. And regardless of how we look at it, That's the real deal conversation for everybody's mind. Speaking of that, that's been my time. I really thank you all for watching and subscribing and tuning in to the Law Nation Sports Show. Let's continue to grind, baby. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out. Peace.